Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 1987 Supermod. I'm your host, Brad Drake, and this is a special episode where we're going to go over the World Wrestling Association. This is a save I've been playing on my own for a couple weeks here, and just wanted to give you a little insight and change things up and have a little bit of fun. So, the World Wrestling Association, for those of you that don't know, was Dick the Bruiser's promotion. He owned the promotion with Wilbur Snyder. They started it in 1964, and it closed its doors in 1989. The World Wrestling Association was based out of Indianapolis, Indiana, and it was a pretty successful little promotion for a while. It mostly had success in the 60s and 1970s. It was very closely aligned with the AWA. In TEW terms, it would be a sister company. They co-promoted shows throughout Chicago, the Chicago area, Indiana, stuff like that. By 1982, the WWA was in some trouble. The wrestlers were all getting older. They were having a hard time promoting as solidly as they used to. And frankly, the WWA television had gone completely downhill to the point where Bruiser was showing very little new material, and he was showing a lot of old material. As far as title belts go, the WWA was respected and had a World Heavyweight Championship and also had a Tag Team Championship. These belts, in the truest sense of the word, were not necessarily real world titles. The WWA was really a glorified independent promotion, if that makes sense. They were technically an outlaw promotion, but they weren't because they were affiliated with the AWA. So they were truly an independent promotion. They had some big name people that held their world titles, which gave them prestige, but at no point was the WWA running shows in Mexico or Europe or anything like that. Their world titles really were not world titles. However, that's the way Bruiser and Snyder had it. They do have a rich history of their titles. Obviously, the titles go back to 1964. There were some real big-name wrestlers that held the titles, such as Baron von Raschke, Dick the Bruiser, international stars like Mitsu Arakawa, Ox Baker held the title, Pepper Gomez, Ivan Koloff once held the title, Bruiser Brody held the title, Johnny Valiant, Brobo Brazil, you name it. Harley Race also held the title. The same goes for the tag titles, or the tag title. Some big names really held these titles. I did a lot of research because I wanted to clean WWA up for version 8. I wanted to make sure it was accurate, which I've done with a lot of other promotions. And by 1987, the WWA was really only running once a month, if that, and sometimes they were only running once a month just to do their television tapings. But in their prime, which was about a decade before, they were running like once a week or sometimes twice a week, or sometimes they had 3-4 times a week with spot shows involved. So the WWA by May of 1987, when version 8.0 starts, is on life support. They're in very big trouble. They're $250,000 in debt. Their roster is depleted. They're left with a lot of older wrestlers that have limitations. So, what I have done in this game was I trimmed the fat. Older wrestlers that didn't think could hang anymore, I released. And I brought in a bunch of young wrestlers, mostly Windy City talent and Pro Wrestling International talent, and also AWA talent. You'll find the Texas Hangmen are in the promotion. I brought in DJ Peterson. I brought back Baron von Raschke and Jerry Blackwell. I also brought back the Crusher to the promotion, and he and Dick the Bruiser actually hold the World Tag Team title at this point. I also had to create wrestlers that were in the promotion that were not actually in the game, such as the Polynesian Wildman, his partner, which was Prince Mama Muhammad. These two were actually a decent tag team at one point. And I just created a bunch of wrestlers that were in the promotion but weren't in the game. For example, Steve Regal I brought him back with the WWA by signing him. I also brought in Sheik Adnan LKC. And Saul Kretschmann at one point was an important manager in the WWA just a few years before this. So I created him in the game. And then he wasn't actually signed with the WWA at the time, but I brought him back. I also brought in like Razor DeVito from PWI. I signed Randy Bryant. He's actually getting a little bit of a push here. And then, of course, I loaded us up with enhancement talent the way I always do. Mad Maxx had a big name at one point in the WWA. He held the World Tag Team title with Supermax, who was also known as Sam DeCero. Sam DeCero, of course, is retired from the ring at this point, but he's running Windy City Pro Wrestling, and he's also a very respected trainer. So this is what we've done with the WWA to try to revive the WWA. Now, finances, we're back making money. Okay, it's going to take us a long time to shed that $250,000 of debt, but we are back making money. And the way we're doing this is we are running 2 shows per week. Okay? I can't access it while we're booking a card, so I'll take you over to the schedule. We have TV tapings every other week. We're taping 2 shows at a time for TV tapings. You'll see the format looks pretty similar to what I did for the AWA. However, there's an extra promo and 1 less match. We're not carrying as heavy of a roster. There's no need to have that many matches. Okay? So it's the similar format. We tape 2 shows at a time on Wednesdays. And then the Wednesdays that we're not running television shows, we're going ahead and we're running a tour date. Usually that falls with a high school in the Chicago area. And then every Sunday or so, we're getting comfortable running the Tyndall Armory. The Tyndall Armory was a big place for the WWA to run in the late 80s, even into the waning years like we're in right now. It was a nice 1,200 seat little armory, and the WWA actually held television tapings there at one point and other shows. So it's there in Indianapolis, right where, obviously this is inaccurate, but that one is. So that's how we're doing it. So we're running 2 shows a week, and one can be an event if it's a Wednesday, or it can be the television tapings. So let's go ahead and let's do a television taping here, and let's see how we do with the revised WWA. Okay, our opening bout here is going to be Randy Bryant. And Randy Bryant, of course, was enhancement talent for Jim Crockett Promotions and some other Southern territories, but he had a really good look, and I thought he was a good wrestler. Very similar to like a George South type, and so he fits in with the promotion pretty good. I have a little thriving light heavyweight division, and he's a part of it. So if we break it down, as you see, I got this broken down as usual, but there is no women's wrestling in the WWA. So here's our roster. Here's how we got things broken down. And no, we do not have a World Light Heavyweight title. Will we in the future? Maybe. I'd have to consider it. WWA never really had one, and we're really tiny. I don't think it's necessary at this point. And of course, I have our tag teams listed and took some liberties and paired up some wrestlers. But then again, just about every team actually teamed in the WWA except for Dream Machine and Granzig. And who is Dream Machine? Dream Machine was big in the Memphis area. That was Troy Graham under a mask, and he's teaming with Stormy Granzig at this point. Okay, so let's go ahead and get to booking here. Or as I usually say, let's get to booking. But we'll do it differently here and go step by step. So Randy Bryant, and introduce the card that way. Randy Bryant, oh, we got incidents we have to deal with. And a little known fact, this was actually the logo that the WWA was using in 1987, in May of 1987, as I found in one of their television shows. Okay, got some incidents here, and it's pretty much protege work. Zebra Kid, of course, was an independent wrestler from Chicago. Very respected, very good wrestler, and I definitely brought him in right away. So, Randy Bryant is going to face Razor DeVito here. Razor DeVito was Tony DeVito, but since there's already a Tony DeVito in the game, I had to name him by his nickname, which was Razor DeVito. So here we go, Randy Bryant versus Razor DeVito. These two have met before. They've put on some decent matches. So let's check and see who won the last time between these two. Randy Bryant won the last time. So Razor DeVito is going to go ahead and get the win this time. And Razor DeVito is actually a pretty cool name if you ask me. All right, next, of course, you know my format. You've been watching these shows long enough. We're going to have a tag match up next. It's going to go 12 minutes. And let's see who's in that match. Here we go, the Windy City Dream Team, which is a couple of big guys that were in Windy City. They were in really good shape. I thought they were good in the ring. They're going to face Jerry Graham Jr. and Don Kent. Jerry Graham Jr., Dr. Jerry Graham Jr., was very, very good on the mic. He was a big dude. He was in good shape. He was almost like Nick Bockwinkel-like, but just not as talented. But he was a mainstay for a long time in the WWA, and I've watched some video footage of this guy, and he was really good. Don Kent, of course, is Bulldog Don Kent, and he was part of the Fabulous Kangaroos team, tag team, many different incarnations. He's in his late 40s right now, and so is Dr. Jerry Graham Jr. They're both at the end of their careers, but they're both still serviceable, and they're a good team. Jerry Graham Jr. has a bad neck injury right now, so it's going to hurt the score of the team, or score of the match, but he's still good enough to work for us. And these two are actually in a feud in the game, so it's important to see he's carrying that injury. It's important to see who got the win the last match. So Windy City Dream Team got the match, so the heels here are going to get the win. We're going to have Don Kent get the win, and he's going to get the win by cheating here. So obviously you can tell I got new pictures for them. The original pictures in the game did not look good, made the wrestlers look cheap. So during my research, I snapped a couple pictures of the way they actually looked in 1986, 1987, and put it in there. All right, so this one is booked. We're ready to go. And next, here we have Larry Hamilton versus Stormy Granzig. Larry Hamilton and these two and their respective teams are in a feud. Larry Hamilton was a wrestler out of the Continental Territory. He also made his way around some other territories. I liked him. I thought he was a good wrestler. And he's more of a veteran, so I've brought him in and tagged him with Derek Dukes as a tag team. Try to get some rub off on Derek Dukes. I always like Derek Dukes too, like I've said. So it's working out well so far. And again, this is good for the WWA. The WWA is in reset mode here. They got some fresh blood, and we're making money. Okay, so Dukes and Hamilton got the win the last time. So we're going to make sure Stormy Granzig gets the win this time. Again, this is not nearly as elaborate of a save as my AWA save is, but similar style. Okay, Mad Maxx and Calypso Jim. Calypso Jim is Bobo Brazil Jr., and Calypso Jim is not actually in a feud right now. I think this match is 14 minutes. Calypso Jim's not in a feud right now, and neither is Mad Maxx. So we're just going to have these two have a regular match. And Calypso Jim became Bobo Brazil Jr. I liked him. I thought he was a good wrestler. Thought he was a lot more talented than his father, Bobo Brazil Sr. And who, believe it or not, Bobo Brazil is actually signed to the WWA and still working matches at 62 years old. Okay, so we're going to have Mad Maxx and Calypso Jim work a match here. And Mad Maxx has got an injury. And we're going to have this one, just to shake things up here, we're going to have this one go to a draw. And it's going to be a double countout. Let's see how this match goes. We may put these two in a feud. Just makes booking a lot easier. Dream Machine and Baron von Raschke are next. They are not in a feud, but this should be a good match. So it's Dream Machine versus von Raschke. And Dream Machine, of course, like I said before, is Troy Graham. He was a good wrestler. And Baron von Raschke's out of his prime here, but still serviceable. We're going to leave this one open-ended. We'll see who wins. Dream Machine is actually in a storyline right now with Dukes and Hamilton. He's the tag partner, Stormy Granzig, but it doesn't matter. All right, so that one's booked. Okay, Dream Machine's got some cardio problems. Let's fix it up here. Let's see if he can go 16. Still can't go 16. Yeah, it's an accident. And let's see if he can go 15. He can go 15. Okay, so that's good. All right, here's our big main event. And former tag team champions, Prince Mama Mohammed and the Polynesian Wildman are going to wrestle Bruiser and Crusher. Now, the Crusher is 60 years old, and Bruiser is like 59. The last tag team champions, which was Chris Carter and Muhammad Syed. As I said, I restructured the WWA, and those two just didn't have a place anymore at this point. Okay, so one of our commentators, our color commentator, Bob Utter, retired on me, and Chris Carter actually served as a color commentator in the waning days of the WWA. So I just put him in the position of color commentator, took him off the road. He's no longer wrestling. I didn't think much of Chris Carter anyway, and I went ahead and released Muhammad Syed. Now, before that happened, I had them drop the tag team title to Bruiser and Crusher. Why not? They're still serviceable. They're super over. It only makes sense. Okay, this one's going to go 28. And we're in Chicago. Dick the Bruiser was over big time in Chicago. And we're going to have Dick the Bruiser get the win for his team. We're going to try to do this in Epic. I don't know if they have the psychology. We may run into stamina problems here. We don't. Okay, so I just want to verify I got that one right. I did. All right, we're good. Let's go ahead and run the show, and let's see what happens here, folks. All right, 39 overall for an opening score. I'll take it. Not a bad match at all for the WWA. This was the AWA. I wouldn't be pleased with these scores, but I am happy with these scores for the reviving WWA here. So look at this. Not bad at all. 49. And of course, Don Kent cheats to win. This helps the feud between these teams continue. And you can see we got some declining physical ability for not only Don Kent, but also Jerry Graham Jr. Okay. Larry Hamilton and Stormy Granzig are going to have a match here. And Stormy Granzig, he wasn't all that good. He wasn't bad. He was a jacked up bodybuilder type. Larry Hamilton could move. But Stormy Granzig gets the win over Larry Hamilton. 42 overall, I'll take it. And Mad Maxx versus Calypso Jim. These two are not bad together. I think we're going to put them in a feud. And Mad Maxx, of course, was also known as Eli the Eliminator in World Class and other promotions. He made his way around. He was a big dude, powerfully built dude, and I thought he was a really good brawler. All right, next, Dream Machine and Baron von Raschke get a 72, and von Raschke wins with the Brain Claw. Excellent. Nice match. Let's see how our main event does. Main event gets a 70 overall. Not bad at all for two guys that are way past their prime, and their popularity is what keeps them over big time here. You can see we have some declining physical ability issues here, and this is good stuff. I'll take it. Right there, we are maxed out this month. We're at the end of the month on popularity changes, so we're not going to get anything better. So normally we would get a bump from that. I'm not going to bother making any speeches or anything like that. This, of course, will take us back to the main screen, and right here, that does it for us for this show. And those of you that know, version 8 has a lot more companies and a lot more wrestlers, so it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot longer than version 6.0 that I play with my AWA save to get back to the main screen. So look at this. We got a new champion in California Championship Wrestling, and Ashley Cartier became the new California Ladies California Ladies Champion. So this is it, folks, for this. I just wanted to give you a little insight into my WWA save. It's fun. I like doing these saves, breaks up the monotony, and it's good stuff and good, clean fun. So thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We'll see you back with our AWA save tomorrow. In the meantime, please hit that subscribe button, give us a like, share this video with your friends, share our other videos with your friends. If you're a big fan of the Supermod, go to facebook.com/groups/1987Supermod and join us in conversation about the Supermod. And last but not least, if you would like version 8.0, go to braddrake.net, drop me a line, and I'll be more than happy to send you over a link That'll take you to the database and the picture pack through Google Drives. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you back in action tomorrow with the AWA.